In mezzo al rumore serve qualcosa che duri.
El Papa León XIV.
Storie vere. Incontri che cambiano la vita. Persone che costruiscono. Uno sguardo originale su ciò che accade. Tutto questo è Tracce. Ora anche in una nuova versione digitale. Per raccontare sempre più storie di gente che vive. Tracce, la rivista internazionale di Comunione e Liberazione.
Prestare il proprio tempo per il bene comune è un valore prezioso che va sostenuto e tutelato. Da sempre, vicini a enti religiosi e non profit. Contatta subito i nostri agenti.
In mezzo al rumore serve qualcosa che duri.
El Papa León XIV.
Storie vere. Incontri che cambiano la vita. Persone che costruiscono. Uno sguardo originale su ciò che accade. Tutto questo è Tracce. Ora anche in una nuova versione digitale. Per raccontare sempre più storie di gente che vive. Tracce, la rivista internazionale di Comunione e Liberazione.
Prestare il proprio tempo per il bene comune è un valore prezioso che va sostenuto e tutelato. Da sempre, vicini a enti religiosi e non profit. Contatta subito i nostri agenti.
Questo è un luogo che genera dialogo,
Qualcuno che si impegna, che si batte.
che approfondisce la conoscenza e sostiene la fiducia. È un crocevia dove si incontra chi desidera il vero, il bello, il giusto e il bene. È una testimonianza di speranza nel cuore ferito del presente. E tutto questo
Proporre con la propria vita.
esiste anche grazie a te.
Bene.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here with us. And welcome to this session, whose title is Love What It Is. My name is Cristiano Guarneri, journalist and writer, podcaster. And next to me, as you all know too well, because there's many people in the audience, we have with us Paolo Ruffini. So a big round of applause to him. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you.
Grazie infinite.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your very warm welcome. Thank you. So this love says a lot about the love and where the love is. So we have a lot of love just before us. Paolo Ruffini does not need to be introduced. He's an actor, a presenter, director, set designer, dubber. And he also wrote a book. His last book was one of the books in the final edition of La Bancarella, an Italian contest. The artistic work, Paolo's artistic work, is pretty much related to the fil rouge of this year's meeting. This is why we asked him to be here with us in order to get familiar with the contents of his work and what his work focuses on, as in the person and Paolo Ruffini himself. We would like to hear from you. What have you found out about yourself in your personal and professional career? Not just out of curiosity, but just because the more you discover about yourself, the more you realize that your human dimension and the humanity that you have is pretty much related to the love that moves the sun and the other stars. So love is a mysterious presence, but something tangible that we're heading to. So tell us where you found love in the job you do and in the life you lead. And we're going to use some keywords in our dialogue, sometimes introduced by videos. Now, just to dive into the topic, I need to tell you this. Before I was asked to be here tonight, I didn't know you too much. I didn't know you too well. Then I tried to collect information on you, and what I'm most struck by is that you are struck, you are really surprised by people who are before you, mothers, children, all the people you meet, and in this wonderful show called the Din Don Dan. And attention now risks disappearing. Father Giussani, the founder of a Communion and Liberation Movement, leading to the Rimini meeting, wrote in one of his most famous essays, wrote that the ultimate truth can be seen and acknowledged only if you pay attention, only if you have attention. So you need to pay attention to what you have before you. In many of the things you do, it's just like you were a child seeking for a treasure. So where does your curiosity come from? Where does your passion come from? Your passion for the other? Well, life is pretty much interesting. A lot more interesting than wars. Big Brother of the Big Brother show, and many other things that we are focusing on during our day. I'm not a disseminator. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just curious. As simple as that. And at some point, especially during COVID times, to me, the human being was pretty much curious. The human being is very, very interesting. And I was very interested in human beings that are very short, like children growing up. A child told me once, excuse me, why do older people are called old people and the children are not called the new people? It's a great question. And then I was a babysitter, then I was a caregiver. So first I was working with children and then with the elderly. And then when I was asking children, what is the person that you most love in your life? Children were saying the mom. And when I was going to old ladies or older people, and I asked a person who was 102 years old, I asked her, but do you often think about your mom? Every day, she said. So when I'm making shows, especially the one entitled Ding Dong Down, there's a game that we always play. And sometimes it's embarrassing to ask who believes in God, who does not believe in God. And the game is this one. Who among you is a parent? Raise your hand. Raise your hand who is a parent. How many of you are children, child of someone? This is fun. I mean, maybe you don't embrace the idea that there is a creator, but we must all agree on something, that we were all created by the person closest to God that is on earth, which is the mom. And to me, moms are sacred. So even when I read the news, sometimes I'm thinking, why are you not thinking that before doing something, there's a mom and there's a child that could cry for what you're doing to that mom? And then I became more and more curious. I will disappoint you pretty much tonight. I started a social job with people who have disabilities, people with the Down syndrome. But let me warmly say that I really would like to be a hero. But I'm just doing that because I'm selfish, out of selfishness, because people like me and you are very trivial. When I'm with people with the Down syndrome, life is much stronger for me, and I embrace life in much more stronger way. And they do charity for me. They give me back the meaning of life, of beauty and wonder that oftentimes I can only find on the social media. And therefore, sometimes from social, I try to become social, as in to do a social job. And I try to find the meaning among the most disadvantaged. Today we all think that frailty is weakness, but actually it's the opposite. Frailty is one of the greatest strengths, pride and victories that people might have. So I am frail and I love frail people. Thank you, Paolo.
Ognuno di noi.
The fact of being creatures, all of us, we are all creatures. We'll go back to that later on. The first keyword I'm going to use with you may be in conflict with what you have said, but actually this is not, and it's laughing. Laughing. Making people laugh is one of your artistic qualities, especially when you're doing something serious. There is always irony in what you're doing. There's a wonderful sentence by San Tommaso Moro saying, blessed are those who can laugh about themselves because they will never stop having fun. This is a wonderful sentence. This is what I was saying that with Giacomino. Pope Francis, before passing away, read this wonderful speech by San Tommaso Moro. At some point, Pope Francis, 1 year before passing away, told us, God, give us the strength to laugh once again and to understand jokes. And to me, this is wonderful. Pope Francis told us, Pope Francis, he was a pope. And in addition to his role, he also was of a certain age. But he was saying, come on, we need to joke. And to me, this is wonderful. And I'm saying that because that day, in the month of June, really struck me. And this is where I decided to make this broadcast at Ding Dong Down. But can we joke with God? And Pope Francis said, yes, of course you can joke with God. I make a funny broadcast. People tell me that I can make also people cry. For many years, I was going around saying, come on, let yourself go, laugh. And now I'm saying, plug in once again, because you need to plug in once again the whole day. Just think about how many times during a day you have your mobile phone in your hands to watch episodes where children are dying, there's disasters, there's bombs exploding, and then there's a person sitting next to you, and at some point you need someone making you cry. I mean, if you are sensitive, you need to cry. You don't need to be ashamed. Let's learn from children. When children cry, they cry a lot. And when they laugh a lot. Let me tell you, Ding Dong Down is a show, and it's quite provocative as a show, and many priests and many nuns came and watched it. Even the Archbishop of Milan came to the show, and he paid us a compliment. He said that there is more Christ in this show than in many churches. This is what he said. So maybe God is much less touchy than many trade associations, and I'm not saying which ones. You've already given me an answer. Why should we laugh at such hard times? There is always some reason to laugh. Luckily enough, we will die out of laughter. I mean, today it's more difficult because the audience has an immense power. The audience is more important than actors on stage. Sometimes taste is misunderstood by competence. Now, Nolan's Odyssey, for example, everyone has now a degree in humanities, in ancient humanities. But everybody is talking about Odyssey, Calypso, Ulysses. So everybody is an expert on that. But you can watch the film even without making comments. It's not that you have to make a review every single time you watch a film. You can just watch the film and that's it, full stop. Can you imagine? I mean, had there always been social networks? I'm working with social networks, so that's very good. My co-worker, Veronica Serafini, and I have millions of people following me, followers on the social media. But I'm using the social networks in a social way. Social networks must not divide people. Here, there's a priest now in the first row, but the devil the devil divides, and if you use the social media in a bad way, in an evil way, then it's too bad, and this is very bad for us. Oftentimes, you realize that you are looking for your own personal identity on social networks. In a profile, you're not buying a beautiful pair of shoes, but some shoes that when you take a picture of those shoes are beautiful. You don't go to a holiday resort, but to a holiday resort which is beautiful when you take pictures of this resort. It's like you say, I don't know what to listen to Spotify. Well, but this is a playlist just made for you. I don't know what to buy. Well, you might be interested in that. I don't know what to watch. Well, you could watch this and that. In the end, we will say, I don't know what to vote, and somebody will tell you, you can vote this or that. We will get there. When talking about laughter and about culture, today it is difficult to be curious, to have that type of attention that you were mentioned. I found out Luchino Visconti because I watched Trinity. There was Terence Hill, but his name was not Terence Hill, it was Mauro Girotti. But then he made other films, and then that reminded me of other films, and that led me to other films, to Alain Delon, through different connections. Now all these connections are made by Google, and before we were making these connections ourselves. So sometimes I'm afraid of the fact that one day there can be some artificial intelligence that can explain a joke, or an AI that can tell you when to laugh, or an AI that will also become artificial sensitivity. And thank God, sensitivity should only be left to man. In order not to be too addicted on the social networks, you have to dive into real life. I know that you go and meet a lot of people. Well, I'm going to many festivals, and I like staying with festivals. I really like people's festivals. Because it's very hard to make people laugh when they are in a very layman's festivals, when they are eating a plate of pasta, for example. But truth is, and here I want to be optimistic. Actually, in my opinion, I'm traveling a lot. It's not that the whole world is ugly, just like young people. This is not the way it is. Even demonizing young people. I'm moved when I'm thinking about the education of the volunteers who came and picked me up, who welcomed me. I'm really moved by that, because these are 20-year-old boys and girls that behave so well, that are very polite, and that are welcoming me. This is a wonderful generation of young people. There's an awareness that we didn't have at that time. We're talking about ecology, bullying, diversity. We were not aware of that. It's like 80-20. You see 20%, but 80% is much brighter. But they're only showing us that 20%. And this is bad. Just because we are frightened much more by the light than by dark. We're not afraid of the dark. Dark is a super comfort for us. If you talk about war, murders, then it's good. Murders have decreased compared to 10 years ago, but nobody's saying that. Even rapes, violence, they have all decreased. But You cast a light on that, you amplify those episodes, those events, and you are constantly afraid, because when you're afraid, you buy more and you watch more some things that maybe do not deserve to be watched. My mother is in Livorno and she's 81. I live in Milan, and my mother is asking me, are you wearing a helmet? My mother is convinced that you cannot go to a restaurant in Milan, but this is not the case. I mean, if we could give more value to light than to dark, and if we were less afraid of beautiful things that we can do, we are not afraid of the bad that we can do. If that happened to me, I would go to jail. If that happened to me, I don't know what I would do. But why are you not saying that happened to me, I will forgive that person? Because you're afraid of that. The most beautiful things and the best things that we can do in life are something that make us afraid, because they are teaching us that it's better to think bad, that it's better to think worse, to think about the worst, and living in the dark is better. It's like being normal. I'm not normal, but I'm very happy to say that, because I'm happy to work with people who are not normal. Thank you.
Tu vai. Tra le tante cose che tu hai fatto.
Among all the things you did, there is also the, movies, cinema. And this is the third keyword. You have always wanted to be a director, a film director. And when you were young, you did work as a director. But has there been anything that, made you think that you could take up different roles? And you did that in a very well. So this is already an expression of love, because you have in a way renounced to some of your ideas to follow that love. So this passion, where does it come from? Well, where is it leading you, not only from the professional point of view, but also from the human point of view? Well, I think about my mom. I'm the third of 3 children. When I was born, my mom started to have a backache, so she wouldn't take me to the seaside in the summer. So we were staying home and watching the movies on the TV. And so this is why I developed this passion, which became then stronger and stronger. I remember that I really begged her to take me to the cinema. The first film that I saw was Jaws 3, and I have some images still that are that I still see, but they are like the pieces of a puzzle, because I kept my hands over my eyes, so I was looking at it through my fingers. So I wanted to look at something, but not all of it. And then, well, I used to live in front of a cinema, and the cinema then became my best friend. Well, I don't like soccer. I would never been to the stadium, and so I started to watch 5-6 films per day. I studied the history of cinema when I was in Rome, and when I look at somebody, just like as I'm doing now, when I look at you, I think about how I would translate it into a movie. So, well, Truffaut used to say that cinema is a news that never ends, and it's a place where we are still very polite. Well, not all the time, because it's not very dark all of the time. Most people use their cell phones, so there are some lights there. And it is a place where you can find back the dimension of dreams, something we are about to lose. And I'll give you another example. If you take a picture of me with your phones right now, if you have them in your bags, get them out and take a picture of me. Take them out and take a picture. Very well, good. So, Cristiano, look, from what I can see, there's a man with a mustache with a white T-shirt over there. Can you stand up, please? You're turning around. Please, take a picture of me right now. is the only one who has his cell phone horizontally, holds it horizontally. The only one. So let's think how our visual mindset changed. Social medias, well, how can we look at movies vertically? This is the mindset young people have today. It is vertical. It's not their fault. But if I come to you and I tell you, Cristiano, let's make history, or let's make a story, then you think something about we're going to write. But if I say this to some young people, they would think about something that lasts 24 hours on Instagram. So the very alphabet of our imagination has completely changed. So, well, this is something that affects cinema as well. In the past, you looked at a movie. If we had today Paolo Villaggio and his film character Fantozzi, who says his daughter is ugly as a monkey, the wife is also very ugly, and it would be banned, it would be censored, just like Fabrizio De André, because he would be told to sing in Italian and not to use his dialect. Well, our collective imagination can exist today because people used to shut up in a way. So, well, that doesn't mean that people were prevented from talking. It was a way of saying what you think is important, but keep it to yourself. Am I wrong?
La signora dice insomma, signora.
Well, the lady over there is not convinced. Well, what I can say to you is that when there is some kind of thinking, there is an ego, we all feel like we are, I don't know what, but we're not as important as that. We are important because we're all equal and all unique. But our way of thinking, our way of choosing can be kept to ourselves, because if I start judging someone whom I don't know, that means that I give these people the power to contaminate my energy, my rage. There are young people that, because of the judgments of people they don't know, give up their smile, their life sometimes even. And so the judgments that are, the criticisms that are made to on people's body. Well, Trump said that the Pope was a bit weak. What would he say to Jesus Christ? That he is frail? We shouldn't let anybody shame us for what we are. Of course, the Pope is weak. Of course, I have blue eyes. Of course, I have white shoes. Of course, I have a disability. So what? What is the problem in being ourselves? This violence, this prevarication that has become something that is unbearable. To be a slave to other people's criticisms is unbearable. I am happy that some people don't like me. I'm really enjoying not being liked by everyone. And when I see someone that votes for a politician that does not come to my shows, I'm happy, because if some people don't like me, that means I'm doing well. I'm going in the right direction. If a cannibal comes to my house and tells me that he had a nice meal, well, that means that something is wrong. So, well, it's okay the way it is. And then here I've lost completely my thought track. This weakness you were talking about, Paolo, is really in a way, an expression of a strength that doesn't come from our own skills, something that is outside of us. And I think this is love. My fourth child has a severe disability, is in bed all day long, And in his weakness, we learn to see his strength, that is to say, the love that surrounds him. The fact that we are in a way limited makes it possible to look at this limit as an opportunity to welcome something that we need. So it's some kind of a breach that lets the light in, as Ron Cohen used to say. Well, wounds can become small windows when the light gets across. And when you talk about love, we are all good at loving someone. This kind of love has a different shapes. People on the autism spectrum have a different way to communicate and love, but this doesn't seem that there is a quality. You cannot judge love. It is like judging God, judging life, judging energies that are bigger than we are. No, when we are born, we live, we breathe, and we love. 2 of 3 things. We can stop them. We can decide to stop breathing, but we cannot decide to stop loving. So let's think about the strength of love, the power of love, the love that moves the sun and the other stars. And it is really something incredible. When in my show I say that love is the exact contrary of death. In Latin, mors mortis. So this A is something that negates what comes after. So the contrary of death is not life, is love. Amore. And so you say, we're saying that you have a son with a disability. Well, this is something that confuses us very often. The fact that we think that we are what we have. Your son has a disability, but is not disabled. Young people affected with Down syndrome are not down. I'm just saying that love is stronger than grammar. Sense is stronger than the syntax. When you look for what you are, this is not defined by your disability, your skills, your job. It's your soul. It's something else. So as I was saying before, when Moses has to talk to the Israeli people, and God tells me, well, what am I going to say? Who am I going to say told me this? And God says, I am the one. But in Hebrew is I am what I will become. And this is what God says. So at a certain point you don't know who you are, then ask yourself whom you love, what you love in yourself. And the idea that maybe we can become who we want to be in our lives, but we can do more. We can become who we are, and this is much cooler.
E secondo me, altra citazione che ho...
Another quote that is really, useful today. Dante says, if you follow your star, you won't miss your glorious harbor. That means that if you follow your star, your talent, you might get lost. You might desire something that is that goes beyond your stars, but in the end you will reach your harbor. We are much more than what we have. We are our soul that is a burning star that love makes even livelier.
Chiedo scusa.
Assolutamente.
Chiedo scusa.
Sorry to interrupt you. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Let's just show a piece of one of my comedies, movies. But then I moved to theology. Well, maybe it was a mistake. Well, you've studied almost everything. My background is that of a classical school. Someone told me there is a great need for spirituality. This is the theme for tomorrow. Tomorrow's theme won't be the algorithms, but God, because God is much cooler than an algorithm. God doesn't tell you what you need to think to buy. He doesn't tell you, maybe you could be interested in buying this. It doesn't tell you, go and look at this story on Instagram. God tells you, look at what you are. So, well, that's much more. And God tells you this through the people you meet. And the first people we meet are our parents. So the next key word is family. You were born in Livorno, your dad, your mom, two elder brothers. So let's talk about your relationship to your father. So I'm the third of three brothers, and well, the third child, I think, is much luckier than the others. Do you agree with me? Are there third children here in the audience? Third children are much luckier. Who agrees should clap their hands.
Qualcuno dissente? Vabbè.
Someone disagrees. Obviously, this is not law. But when you have a father like my father, born in 1936 and was in the military and is as strong as a rock, the first son follows the same footprint of his dad. Then the second child, in a way, manages to sail around this rock, and I took a completely different path, and that's what saved me. So the first of my brother is a military man. I am the second child. My second brother is an engineer. Why I am completely something else. My mom was a housewife. And my dad, we had a difficult relationship when I was young, but then things changed. And I often say that the most beautiful day I spent with my dad is the day he passed away, because he waited for me. I had the privilege to be close to him that night when he passed away. He put under his pillow my phone with the sound of the sea waves, because he loved the waves of the sea. It was a beautiful night. It was a night of where I felt grateful. There were a lot of prayers and confessions, and we were as close as we never were before. And now that he has passed away, people tell me I do resemble him. My mom, well, I call her every night. She lives in Livorno. She's 81. One of the most beautiful things of love is that it always finds a shape, a way. My mom never really told me I love you. But she would ask me, did you eat? And I try to translate this question, did you eat? And I understood that when she said, did you eat? She was actually saying, I love you. So now I also ask her, did you eat?
Ieri il Santo Padre tra...
Pope Leo yesterday, among many other things, quoted passage that said, love urges, awakens us, and invites us to take risks. Well, you talked about your relationship with your dad. Well, you did risk a lot. How could you do that? I mean, what made it possible for you to risk, and where did this take you? Well, to take risks, to do something that is not what you are supposed to do, to disobey, just like Abraham did with God. That doesn't mean that there is no love. If you disobey, it doesn't mean you don't love your father. Disobedience or obedience and love are not the same thing. You can take a risk and you can do this with your heart. So this is the unconditional love that we all are looking for, that fails sometimes. And when people start telling us, if you take a good marks at school, I will buy you a new toy. Well, when there are no negotiations, when there are risks, love becomes life, the real meaning of life, the reason why we are here. It's not us making love, it is love that makes us. So from what I remember from my school, the Greeks, and I still remember my first day of school, and I told myself, maybe I've made the wrong choice. What I'm going to study is not going to be of any use to me, but it is now that I'm here in Rimini. And because my father really actually made me choose this school, but culture is extremely important. It makes you free. It makes you a better voter when there are elections, political elections. So the Greeks had 4 different concepts of love: biological love, disinterested love. There was eros, that is the physical love, and there's philia, that is to say, I choose someone to love because I admire this person, and when there is this kind of love, you can actually challenge this kind of love, and that person, the person you love, could even leave you. So this is the risk you're taking, but you cannot use your love as a way to keep people close to you. You need to give people the freedom to leave, because this is the only way to express your love truthfully.
Senti, la prossima parola chiave è introdotta da una clip.
Now we have a small video. And it's the trailer of one of your works.
È un film normale.
Normale?
Sì.
Non niente di particolare.
It's normal, there's nothing particular.
Amore mio.
You're my love.
Questo è normale.
Are you normal? Me? Normal? No way. We are getting married. 2 children and 1 down child. Who's on your T-shirt? Che Guevara. So you are a fascist.
Prima o poi trovo qualcuno.
Sooner or later, I'll find a fiancé. I have a vision of disability which is very extreme. I'm not cynical, but I'm extreme in a way. These young people don't do some things because they have never been asked to do some things. This contest is called the first one and the last one.
Bravo Simone.
You do not know what you're missing because you're normal. When I was pregnant with Andrea, one of my friends had a baby without hands, and I was very scared. I was afraid that my own child would have a problem. So I went to church and asked the grace to have a happy child. Well, Well, he is very happy. Life is beautiful.
Un bimbo dolcissimo.
A sweet child, a perfect child. Did you ask him to marry you? Yeah, but he doesn't want to.
Ma gli attori di questo
The actors in this movie, how are they? Normal. I love you, Paolo. Forever. Yeah, forever.
Siete down?
No.
Are you down? No. I'm cured. I'm cured. This is, yeah. So this is the trailer of Up and Down, a normal movie. You have directed with Francesco Pacini this movie, and you also act in this movie. If you want to see it, you can see it on the platform RaiPlay, and it's free. The key word is to be cured, healed, healing. In this very last part, you are with Giacomo, if I remember correctly, and you ask him, are you down? No. He says, I have been healed. But there's something that is more important than healing. It's the cure. There's a song by Battiato called La Cura, but Giacomo is right. He says this is not an illness. So, well, it is as if I'd tell you, are you still in love with your wife? And the other person said, yeah, well, I'm healed. Yes. What is the illness here, the disease? The disease. If you're ill, you have to heal. You can get better if you have a cold, for instance. You cannot be cured from Alzheimer. You cannot be cured from love. This is another film I made. There are some conditions in life that cannot be cured. And this is extremely interesting. On this film, which is a film that was made a few years ago, and then there is a show Up and Down, and then we have Did Not Down. And I'm moved by two aspects of this little video. The one concerns love. You've seen an example of love, the young boy that is caressing the head of his colleague. This is really a kind of love that is extraordinary. That is what I mean by love. When we started with Up and Down with the company in Livorno, Lamberto Giannini, the bald man you saw in the video, many years ago, disability was seen as something that was off theater. I wanted to make this kind of theater more, in a way, pop. And it was very difficult for us to perform in theater because people said actors with Down syndrome make people sad. But there are so many people that are down in a way because they're feeling down. And people with Down syndrome are much happier than most of us. So we started this path after 10 years. Dindon Down is one of the most seen. We will be in Caserta, then in Rho, near Milan. We were in the arena in Verona. So, well, we actually, I was in the actor room that were occupied by Katy Perry before me. So that, I must say, it's something that is very extraordinary, because there are people in the audience that want to believe that life can be frail and we can share a personal experience. I would like to try and make a movie of this. I think I should ask for favors with this, but I'm not very good at that. And then there is a social enterprise called Up, which is managed by Ivana De Biasi. You can clap your hands. You can make an applause. Well, she stood up. So she is managing this social enterprise that wants really to bring light into the world. So the theme of the healing is much more interesting to take care of someone. This is what love is, to take care of someone else, of ourselves. Another thing which I find very cool that was suggested to me by a priest that I met near Rome. He has a monastery which is always open. You can get in, you can take whatever you want. And he says that those parents that have lost their children, because, well, there is no word to define this. If I lose my husband, I'm a widow. If I lose my parents, I'm an orphan. But they say that the parents who lost their children are tightrope walkers. So he asked me, when you think of Jesus, what is the first line that comes to your mind? And I said, love your neighbors as you love yourself. Well, he said, you can say that it's better to say love your neighbors because you are one of them. Because being me is the same as being you. Well, this is a very interesting thing. It's something that I experience every day, because when I meet someone, I rediscover who I am. So this is more or less what you were saying. We are reflected in other people's eyes. If we stop finding something of us, or rather ourselves, in our neighbors, well, we cannot do anything more. Let's take a look at the very last video. The last actually keyword.
Ci sono dei bambini diversi in classe tua?
Are there different children that are different in your class? Yes, I have a friend. Well, he doesn't talk. He talks in his own way. He has his own language. It doesn't speak the human language. He says his own language. Is he autistic? Well, maybe, yes. What do you think about him? Well, it's normal. It's just that he speaks in another way. He's a child like everyone else. And in a way also the grown-ups are children. What kind of children are the grown-ups? Well, they are children that dream less than they used to do. Yeah, you're right. So, well, an applause. A round of applause. I had forgotten this video. You were deeply moved. We can see this. So Riccardo, 8 years old, says that grown-ups are children that that dream less. How can you still be a child that dreams? And why do you think it is better to remain children inside? Well, imagination, faith. Faith means to continue being children. Children believe in unicorns, in fairy tales, in Father Christmas. If you stop believing into all this, well, Goethe used to say that when a grown-up stops living when he stops playing, because children believe in beautiful things because they know less. And they cannot counter this dark world we were talking about. So we often think that they can't find the right words. Another video that I have posted on Instagram, an 11-year-old kid told me, "We are not hurt. I would like my teacher to listen to me more." That's what people used to think, that young children don't know anything, so they should shut up. But children do know a lot of things. And I'm going to say something that is very strong. Up to 3 years of age, children absorb what is around them, but they know a lot of things. We know where we come from. We know different things. But children have a lot of information, and this is why they keep their imagination and faith alive. This is what they are looking for. So to close this session together, and it's something that I quote often. There is the never-ending story. For me, it's like a sacred text. That there is a wolf in a cave that says, "Fantasia is about to disappear." It has a very deep and unsettling voice. But why? Because it is easier to dominate people if they have stopped believing and hoping. So this is the main concept. Out of 10 children I interviewed last year, at least 5 children of 7 years of age said they do not believe in Father Christmas because they asked the EI if it really exists. So in a world where a 7-year-old can ask EI if Father Christmas really exists, well, this is a world that has already come to an end.
Voglio un mondo dove c'è un bambino di...
I want a world where a 7-year-old says that has asked Father Christmas if the AI really exists. So this is to answer your questions. So to remain young and children is believing, having an imagination and playing. And this is what you find when you meet so many different people. Well, maybe I have changed my point of view. I don't ask myself whether I believe in God. I feel. I like it better this way. When you see a child that tells you the things we've heard in the video, or when you see young children that cry and moved because they think about their mom who's no longer alive, you can see that there is a strength that is bigger than you. So I don't have reasons to believe. I have reasons to feel, because there is something that resonates in me. And this is funnier than faith, more fulfilling. But anyway, you have told us what it means to believe. Well, we can use different verbs, different words, but this is what you told us. So we have signs that refer to something else. You can feel a strength that is bigger. Well, apparently, there is much more.
Quella signora mentre venivamo che mi ha fermato e mi ha...
You saw that lady who stopped me when I was coming here, and she even kissed me. I'm a tool. The question that she could have asked me, I'm glad she didn't ask him, but I am replying now anyway. And the question that you are not going to ask me, but I'm going to answer it anyway. Well, anyway, if this makes sense. Why do you do this? Did you have experiences with people? Do you have children? No. Did you meet someone with Alzheimer? No. So why? And my answer is, I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to know. I'd like to say I'm a hero, I'm a believer. No, I don't know. Trust me. Sometimes I feel like a pencil that is writing things that are dictated to her. I'm writing a book which is very complicated on identity, and I don't know why. It just happens to me. And I'm really glad to see that there is a great involvement from the public. When I make some kind of comedy shows on TV, because I'm still a comedian, actually, this is still my job. I haven't changed that. I'm not a theologist now. I get paid for talking nonsense. But when they say, they applaud when they say, you're very good, this is less satisfying to me, than when someone tells me, thank you. Thank you. This is much more satisfying for me, for my ego. And when I see this, something that really drives me crazy, when I see at my shows some parents that take their children to my shows, very young children, 3 months, 6 months, we interviewed some of the mothers, and tell me, I'm looking for the right words. When these mothers tell me, you know, this child could not have been born. His name is Gianluigi, but, well, he couldn't have been born. So, well, this is what makes me happy.
Bene.
Very well. So we've now come to an end of a dialogue where we got to know a lot about you. And yes, they're very kind. And we also got to know a lot about ourselves and our humanity. So let me close with a picture. This one. There you go. This is a picture that I took in 2018. I was in Tonfano. That was wonderful. This is the last one of my children. He was 2 at that time, and you can see it is dragging his track toy, and is going towards a wave, fearless. And then he stopped. I like the idea of closing with this picture because I think that life can be lived this way, with this certainty always at any age. Because you can find out that there is a love in us with no limits. So what is the present in our life that makes us sure that we can stand before those waves always? I think that you can find His presence in the faces of all those that come and see you, that are a sign of this love. So I wish you, and I wish myself and all of us, always to be hungry for this presence. And this presence is always coming and see us. So please stay who you are, stay as you are, and please come back and see us once again. Paolo, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Questo è un luogo che genera dialogo,
Qualcuno che si impegna, che si batte.
che approfondisce la conoscenza e sostiene la fiducia. È un crocevia dove si incontra chi desidera il vero, il bello, il giusto e il bene. È una testimonianza di speranza, un cuore ferito, del presente. E tutto questo
Proporre con la propria vita.
esiste anche grazie a te.
In mezzo al rumore serve qualcosa che duri.
El Papa León XIV.
Storie vere. Incontri che cambiano la vita. Persone che costruiscono. Uno sguardo originale su ciò che accade. Tutto questo è Tracce. Ora anche in una nuova versione digitale. Per raccontare sempre più storie di gente che vive. Tracce, la rivista internazionale di Comunione e Liberazione.
Prestare il proprio tempo per il bene comune è un valore prezioso che va sostenuto e tutelato. Da sempre, vicini a enti religiosi e non profit. Contatta subito i nostri agenti.
In mezzo al rumore serve qualcosa che duri.
El Papa León XIV.
Storie vere. Incontri che cambiano la vita. Persone che costruiscono. Uno sguardo originale su ciò che accade. Tutto questo è Tracce. Ora anche in una nuova versione digitale. Per raccontare sempre più storie di gente che vive. Tracce, la rivista internazionale di Comunione e Liberazione.
Prestare il proprio tempo per il bene comune è un valore prezioso che va sostenuto e tutelato. Da sempre, vicini a enti religiosi e non profit. Contatta subito i nostri agenti.